A sign has just appeared of the end of the PlayStation Vita.
We're ready for a Viking funeral.
Hot take. We've known about the end of the Vita for quite some time now, but folks, it looks like it's becoming a lot more serious.
Yeah, we knew it was coming. We heard about this news sometime in May of this year, that in 2019 they were going to stop the production of not only the Vita cartridges themselves, physical media's dying, man, and the Vita proper. Yeah. So the Vita consoles were no longer going to be produced, I think, in March of 2019. We figured, man, it's a long ways off. It's never going to happen. We're like kids, right? But we're seeing the first signs that this is going to happen because they're running out of Vita cartridges. Limited Run Games, his name is Josh Fairhurst, the owner of Limited Run Games. He tweeted recently, our remaining Vita cartridge allotment with Sony is far lower than we expected. We're being forced to put a pretty large swath of releases, over 10, on hold unless another publisher gives us some of their allotment. So they're running out of carts, and they can't find carts anywhere. Yeah. Unless Limited Run Games gets tens of thousands of carts, they won't be able to produce, there's at least 10 titles that they want to make, that they have lined up. But there's nothing to put them on.
This is kind of sad, because, okay...
it's very sad.
The folks, look... Usually when it comes to these kind of video game systems, we see a little bit of a longer lifespan from the community afterwards. So the NES kept getting games, the Sega Genesis kept getting games, we kept getting games for a lot of systems.
Dreamcast.
Even the Dreamcast.
Dude, the Dreamcast is crazy how long the lifespan on that is.
But what's weird is we don't see a lot of systems that are disc-based continue on. Like the PlayStation really doesn't have like a homebrew scene to that extent.
Yeah, I guess the Dreamcast is maybe the biggest outlier,
probably,
right? Because it does have a very strong community there.
But the Vita is one of the more recent systems that is based around cartridge technology, so you would assume that maybe people would keep making things on there because it does have a hardcore community.
Shane, it feels like to me that within the first couple of years, Sony was, they were pumping things out for the Vita.
Sure.
But I think the community kind of started producing games for the Vita shortly thereafter, around 2015 or so. Maybe not the community in the way that we know it, like the fans are creating Dreamcast games or whatever, but Limited Run Games and other companies like that started producing cartridges for the Vita. And I really do feel like that's like most of where the blood has been for that console for the last few years. It isn't any of Sony's doing. Sony was like, after, it was like 2015, they're like, well, we're going to start making VR now. And you know what? A lot of those studios went from developing Vita games to VR.
Yeah, it's hilarious because I got a Vita more recently than
How'd you get your Vita, Shane?
You bought me a Vita.
It was last Christmas.
Yeah.
Last Christmas, I gave you Vita.
Okay, so here's the thing. The Vita is amazing. It's a really good system. There's some rough edges around it here and there, but we got one of the OLED screen models, so it's actually a very nice quality screen. And there's a lot of games that are actually really good on this system.
There's over 1,500 games on the Vita. Over 1,500. No, not a lot of people know that. So, there are games, there are great... They started out with almost like AAA titles on the Vita, like Call of Duty was on there, and it's considered one of the worst games on the Vita, if not in the entirety of gaming. That Call of Duty game isn't all that great. There's Killzone Mercenaries, which was a AAA title, and the graphics for Killzone Mercenaries on the Vita are still breathtaking. It's incredible how they have like a PS3 Killzone game playing on a Vita. Very cool.
Unfortunately, though... Yeah? The system was just really not supported by Sony,
exactly.
and that's the problem. Yeah. Look, I've played the system. I've experienced a lot of the games on there. I've played PlayStation games on there. The only problem I have with certain games that you can play on the system that are from other consoles, like the PlayStation, is that there are two shoulder buttons.
Yeah, L1 and R1 are there on the Vita.
Yeah. But then on the Switch, or sorry, on the Vita, you kind of have to do the touchpads at the back,
right? Because you only have L1, R1, right? Instead of the multiple L1.
So you got like basically the triggers are the front are the back pads, and it doesn't work. It's really messy. It's not fun.
Right. But other than that, it's a great way to play emulated PS1 games. Yeah,
I feel that this system is small enough, it's powerful enough that it easily could be a competitor in today's market, because there's tons of games on there that when I see a new game come out on the Vita, I'm just like, Wow, okay, it can still run that stuff.
Yeah.
It didn't have enough time to fail. It didn't have enough time to be a success. Sony really dropped the ball on this. And look, with the competition we saw from the Switch, with Nintendo coming on in that market, you would just assume that Sony would be like, okay, look, here's something that we can bring out cheaper, we can put a ton of games on there, and we can beat Nintendo at the punch, and then they can also just put some kind of device that allows you to bring it to the TV, which is not something that they didn't already have, right? The PSP had that.
Right.
We even have the PS TV, but their inability to keep that going forward is just shocking. PlayStation Vita games should be playable on the PlayStation 4.
Yeah,
there
absolutely.
is no reason why that shouldn't happen.
The PS Vita is in this sort of like this weird place in console history because it did compete with the Wii U in that it had remote play.
Yeah.
Right? So, you know, with the Wii U tablet, you could play your Wii U games on the tablet itself, or you could play it on your screen, your big screen. Well, with the Vita was being posited as a system that could do that as well. So it's like, hey, you're not in the room with your PS4 or you want to watch another show and play a video game at the same time, then your PS4 would send that signal directly to the Vita. So it does have some great functionality there, man.
I did use that feature to most recently, as funny as it is, to play the Tetris effect.
Yeah.
Now,
You
problem
played
is,
it on your Vita?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
So it's cool, but it doesn't work all that well. It's a little slow.
There's latency issues?
There's latency. Yeah,
no.
If you're playing a strategy game or something that doesn't require an instant response, you'd probably have a better experience there.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Sony lately has been very bad at taking their libraries and combining them together. So here's an example. With the Xbox, you get original Xbox games, 360 and Xbox One all on the same platform. So if you have an Xbox One, you can play everything from the past. Nintendo dropped the ball this generation with the Switch. They have not been supporting any of the previous systems. The NES seems to be the only thing that they've been supporting on there, but it's like
weird.
Yeah, it's an online thing. But Sony had no excuse. The PlayStation 3, I fully understand. That is a little bit more of a technical powerhouse. To get that to work and emulate properly is a bit more difficult. The PlayStation 2, they do have PlayStation 2 games on the PlayStation 4 store. It's just not a large collection. PlayStation 1 games, which they have digital versions of, you can't play on PlayStation 4. It doesn't make any sense.
I know.
PSP digital games should be playable on the PlayStation 4 store. PlayStation Vita games definitely should be.
Yep.
These games should be there.
Yeah,
now,
I agree.
I get it, right? There's this argument that, but if you buy a PlayStation Vita version of a game and play it on the PlayStation 4, then why would you ever buy the PlayStation 4 version of that game? Right, probably not. So why not, when you buy one version, you get the other version for free, which is what they were doing with certain games.
Exactly, they were doing that. I think it was they dabbled with that during the PS3 and Vita era, maybe a little bit with PS4 as well. Part of the beauty of like what they were trying to do with the Vita was have every single game be remote play, which I kind of dug, like being able to have that compatibility there, unless there was like a weird peripheral or something like that. It's so sad. It's so sad to hear that this is happening. There's still a few games that are being released because I believe March 19th is the when they're all finished. So NIS. Nippon Ichi Software announced a few physical games that are coming out, like at the very tail end, and collectors are going to go nuts for those. I'm sure.
Looks like they've got the stock for the rest of them.
Because there's no carts.
Yeah.
There are going to be physical releases, but they're going to be so small. It's going to be ridiculous. There's Axis Games is still going to be making some stuff, and there's a game that was supposed to be coming out on the Amiga a long time ago. It's called Hardcore. We'd heard about this a long time ago.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be getting a physical release on the Vita. I don't know if that's still going to be a thing.
You know, I think what's going to happen is somebody's going to go out there and they're going to start making their own versions of Vita cartridges. And I think that's going to be the way it goes for the future, because it just makes sense. There is money to be made there. There is a community that's there.
Yep.
Sony totally, this is... If you've ever been a huge fan of Sony and you want to kind of point at things they've done wrong in the past, this is one of the clearest indicators that they've done something so wrong, when there is such a fight to keep these games alive. Sony could just release another Vita, and it probably would be very successful due to the market they have right now, considering that they could take the entire library of PSP and Vita games and move those over to a newer system. They could probably see a massive success, because they're dealing exactly with what like Nintendo's dealing with the Switch.
I would say that handheld gaming is more relevant today than it was back in 2000, the era, like 2014, 2013. Because back then, a lot of people were saying, well, why do we need a Vita? We got cell phones. Everyone was all about cell phone gaming back then. We got to remember that. That's one of the reasons I believe that the Vita wasn't as successful as it was because we can play these games on our cell phones. But now we know the cell phone experience is nowhere equal to like a handheld console experience. So it's unfortunate timing. I also want to reiterate again, VR started bubbling up, so Sony was like nudging the Vita out of the way to jump on the Morpheus train.
Yeah, VR is a weird thing. Look, we have our own issues with VR, but here's something that I think you guys should probably take into consideration too. We've heard rumors now that the next generation of consoles, the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox 2, are likely going to be coming out not in 2020, but 2021. Apparently, there's going to be a 2-year gap there between new systems. So
I'd be okay with that.
That's pretty crazy. Yeah. But if that happens, I have a sneaking suspicion that that Sony, if they were smart, they would go back into the mobile market by releasing in 2 years a mobile version of the PlayStation 4 architecture. If they can get close to that, knock down the resolution a bit to 720p, because remember, you don't need to have a full HD system running around with you. If you can get it down to that mark, you got yourself a pretty powerful system. In order to make it very successful, though, re-releasing all those PSP games, re-releasing all those Vita games, I don't believe it's a wise move for Sony to jump out of mobile altogether.
No.
And I think the Vita was just a mistake. I think that they could go back and make it work.
Yeah, like I said, it's bad timing. And what you're saying makes perfect sense. Whenever we think about the handheld iterations of Sony consoles, they have been what the console before was, basically handheld, right? We got the PSP, and it felt a little bit like a PS1/2. We got the Vita, it felt a little bit like a PS2, PS3. So the next iteration would feel a little bit lower than, let's say, a PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
But I mean, handheld gaming tech's growing in leaps and bounds these days, right? Before we finish, you want to do the MPD, the top 10 US selling games for the Vita?
Okay, let's try this.
Yeah? Okay. Do you want to... Whatever.
10 to 1.
10 to 1.
All right.
Okay, number 10. Unit 13. Do you remember Unit 13?
No.
It's a third-person, like, military game. It was actually really good.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't have much else to say. I played it, and I can't tell you that much about it. I enjoyed it.
Okay.
I enjoyed it a lot. Okay, number 9, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom.
That makes sense. That I knew that game existed, so there's that.
But again, these are the NPD charts. It's from Matt Piscatella. He does all these. He releases these every once in a while. Number 8, Persona 4 Golden.
Now, I was expecting that to be far higher on the list.
I know.
So for those of you that don't know that may not own a Vita, get a PlayStation Vita TV.
This is the reason to own a Vita, or it was many people's reasons.
Yeah, Persona 4 Golden is a really fantastic version of Persona. Honestly, probably should be releasing that on another system soon, maybe home console.
Leave it on the Vita. It's like the beautiful forgotten gem. Oh,
all right.
It's lovely. Okay, number 7, Killzone Mercenary.
Okay, like you were saying.
Really good. It switched up the Killzone formula a little bit, where you're a mercenary, so you're killing people, you're making money, buying power-ups and stuff. Probably the prettiest game on the Vita.
Okay.
Most technically pretty. Number 6, Need for Speed, Most Wanted.
Wow. Really? This is probably why the Vita struggled so much.
Dude!
Okay,
number 5, Little Big Planet. The Vita version of Little Big Planet was excellent, and no one ever talks about it. It had all the functionality of the PS3 versions of Little Big Planet before they made that iteration that wasn't so good.
Yes.
That wasn't by... Was it Media Molecule?
I forget.
Oh, okay, anyway. It wasn't the developers.
Yeah.
They're on Dream now, right?
Yeah. They've been dreaming for a long time.
Yeah.
That game is
they
not
They couldn't have made the last... Well, anyway.
All right.
Number 4, Mortal Kombat 11.
Really, on the Vita?
Yep.
This is a crazy list, folks. I was not expecting to hear these. Like, this game, it's the games I would know about, but in the wrong order.
Oh, wait, no, it's not Mortal Kombat 11. Wait, Mortal Kombat, it must be Mortal Kombat 9?
Oh, yeah, it can't be 11.
Because 11's coming out.
Yeah.
Matt Piscatella's list. Anyway, number 3, Assassin's Creed Liberation. That's Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, that was, it was branching off.
First time that we actually got an Assassin's Creed game where the female...
It was a female protagonist, yeah. I never really played that.
No, it's apparently good, though.
Yeah, okay. Number 2, Call of Duty Black Ops Declassified.
So this was the bad one.
It sold crazy well, but it was considered one of the worst games, one of the worst handheld games of all time.
I do believe that one was pack-in as well at one point for the system. I could be wrong, but yeah.
Okay, number 1. Do you want to guess what the number 1 game is?
Number 1 game on the PlayStation Vita?
Yeah.
Luminous?
Nope.
Wow.
Think about a really, really big franchise. Massive franchise.
I can't think. I don't know. Wait, Uncharted.
Yeah,
Okay.
Uncharted.
Golden Abyss.
Golden Abyss.
All right,
That's a pretty great game. There's some other great games too. Tearaway. Tearaway's a game that used all the functionality of the Vita. That was really awesome. What about Shiren the Wanderer? You might not know that.
I don't know that one.
It's a dungeon, mystery dungeon game. It's really good.
There's just so many
The Nonary games?
Yeah. There are so many good games on the Vita. You can't really go wrong with that system. If you pick it up now, you have the ability
Gravity Rush?
Gravity Rush? Yeah, that's where it came from, right? Before it came on the systems. Just think about this, folks. If you can get the Vita now, you can pick up a whole bunch of games for dirt cheap.
Over 1,500 games available.
And many of them, you can even get digital sales and stuff. I've been picking up games left and right for like $1 each. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
If you are into the PlayStation Vita collecting market, now is the time to get into it.
That's what Josh Fairhurst, the owner of Limited Run Games, is saying. He's saying that the Vita is going to be the next Sega Saturn as far as collecting is concerned, because there's so many little rare gems and stuff that are awesome on that console.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is our love letter, our send-off, our salute to the Vita. We still have some time with it. It'll be around. Guys, take your Vita out, wipe the dust off, hug it, give it some love. Play Persona.
Unless it's not a OLED version. If it's not an OLED version,
there's the LCD screen
you can throw
version.
Those ones out. Those ones are fine.
No,
just toss them.
It's easier to hug. It's lighter and thinner.
Okay, well, figure out which ones you want to play, but definitely system not to miss. Folks, do you like the Vita? Are you sad that the cartridges are going away? Please let us know what you think, because, well, we're probably going to miss it.